Rape Crisis England and Wales is the national umbrella body for a network of 39 autonomous rape crisis centres. Each of our member centres provides a holistic range of specialist support and advocacy services for people whose lives have been impacted by child sexual abuse, rape and all forms of sexual violence, the vast majority of whom are women and girls. Last year alone, our member centres provided over 775,000 sessions of face-to-face emotional support, counselling and advocacy, and responded to nearly 195,000 telephone and online helpline contacts for more than 66,000 individual survivors. As well as supporting this specialist work, at Rape Crisis England and Wales, we amplify the voices and promote the needs and rights of women and girls who've experienced sexual violence and abuse through, for example, our national policy strategy and media work, and most recently through direct service provision ourselves with the launch of our specialist live chat helpline for women and girls aged 16 plus in October 2019. Our rape crisis work is critical because 1 in every 5 adult women living in England and Wales right now has experienced some form of sexual violence or abuse since they turned 16 years old. And as well as that, 1 in every 13 adults in England and Wales experienced some form of sexual violence or abuse as children before they turned 16, including 2.4 million women. And through our specialist work at Rape Crisis, we know that the impact of the trauma of sexual violence and abuse is wide-ranging, severe, long-lasting and sometimes even lifelong. Impacts can include depression, anxiety, symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, many other health issues, and the impacts spread into people's wider lives, their relationships, their careers, their earning potential, their communities. Plus, we know that criminal justice outcomes for those who've experienced sexual violence and abuse and reported to the police remain woefully and unacceptably low. And what survivors consistently tell us is that the specialist, community-based, trauma-informed, independent and women-centred support that Rape Crisis Centres provide really can and does make a difference to their lives. They describe it as life-changing and sometimes even as life-saving. So Article 25 of the Istanbul Convention, which makes clear that parties should provide for the setting up and sustaining of appropriate, easily accessible rape crisis services, including trauma support and counselling for victims, really could make all the difference to our rape crisis movement and to victims and survivors. It could mean that rape crisis centres no longer have to focus year on year on bringing in the funds to simply survivors' organisations and instead can focus purely and simply where they need and want to on providing appropriate, trauma-informed, accessible services and expanding to meet the huge need and demand among survivors.